Hello friends, my name is Dahat PG. I am working in a Rao Bahadur Narayan Rao Borawke College. In previous lectures, we have studied the rectifier block diagram of the rectifier circuit, and we have studied the half wave rectifier and the full wave rectifier in the chapter semiconductor devices. Okay. The output of the full wave rectifier is fluctuating. It has some AC components in it, which is called as the ripple. Okay, the output waveform, if we plot, this is the voltage against the time. We get the output of the full wave rectifier in this way. This is in that DC output there are some fluctuations. These fluctuations are called as the ripple. Because of this AC component, the output of the full wave rectifier is fluctuating. Efficiency of that output, it depends upon this ripple factor. If this ripple factor is large, it is not efficient. If the ripple factor is less, then the DC output is effective. This is the V, and this ripple factor is given by the ratio ripple factor is given by the ratio RMS value of AC component to the DC output. To overcome this ripple factor, we use the filter circuit. We have seen in a block diagram of the rectifier circuit. To overcome this ripple factor, we use the filter circuit. Filter circuit consists of a capacitor. Suppose, let us see the diagram. This is the input of the rectifier. Here is the rectifier circuit. This is the rectifier circuit, and the output of this rectifier circuit is connected to one capacitor. And output is taken through this load resistance RL. the input AC input is given to this rectifier circuit, which we have studied, rectifier circuit, half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. This input is given to the rectifier circuit, full wave circuit, and the output is, and after that rectifier circuit, one capacitor is used, okay, and the output voltage is taken across this load resistance. We know that the output waveform, then how this works, let us see with the help of these waveforms. The output waveform of the full wave rectifier is the pulsating output. It has the AC component, which we have studied, which is known as the ripple factor, and to overcome this ripple factor, this filter circuit is used. What happens? We get the output in this way. Positive cycle, then another diode conducts in the next negative cycle, okay. We get the output waveform in this way. Again, next D1 conducts in the next positive half cycle, and for another half cycle this D1 conducts here, D2 conducts here, D1 conducts here, and D2 conducts here. After applying this capacitor, what happens? It charges this is the output V0 if we plot the graph against the T. This capacitor charges to the point A up to the quarter of this cycle, okay. After reaching the peak value Vp, it starts to, the capacitor starts to discharges, okay. This capacitor reaches the peak value of the voltage within this quarter half cycle at the point A, and when after charging this capacitor, it starts to discharge when this voltage starts to decrease. When this voltage starts to decrease, the capacitor which is connected in the filter circuit starts to discharge and it reaches to this point, okay. This is the B point, okay. After reaching to this point, at the same time this capacitor charges again, okay, through the quarter of the half cycle, and it reaches to the point C. Similarly, this process is repeated again and again. We get this capacitor starts to discharge here at D point. Again it starts, when voltage start to increase, it charges up to this point E in a short time. When the voltage of this cycle starts to decrease, it discharges from this point to this point. Call this as G, and again when the next cycle starts, at the same time it charges at the quarter half of the this cycle at this point, and in this way we get the output waveform. This output waveform is the unregulated DC. This is the unregulated DC output. This is the unregulated DC output. In this way, we get some reduction in the ripple factor after using this capacitor in a filter circuit, and the waveform which we get is like this. This waveform or the output is unregulated DC output. This is the unregulated output. To get the regulated output, we use some special purpose PN junction diodes such as the Zener diode, which is used as a voltage regulator, which is used in a voltage regulator circuit. Let us study the special purpose junction. The special purpose junction diodes are special purpose junction diodes. First is the Zener diode, which is used in a circuit as a voltage regulator. Another special purpose junction diode is the photodiode. Second one is the photodiode, which is also called as the photodetector. Or the photo sensor. And next one, third is the photo solar cell. And the fourth one is the LED, which we commonly used in our day-to-day life, which is the light emitting diode. Okay. Today we will see the photodiode. Its construction and its working. Basically, photodiode, as the name suggests, photodiode, it works on the principle that the electrical light energy, when the light falls on this diode, the light energy is converted into the electrical energy. The symbol of this diode is like this. This is the anode and this is the cathode of this diode, and the light is shown by such arrows on it. These diodes work in a reverse bias. Reverse bias is applied to the photodiode, and the conduction of the current, we get the current because of the minority charges. Current is due to the minority charge carriers. Minority charge carriers minority charge carriers means what? This is the anode, which is the p-type semiconductor. Majority carriers in this p-type semiconductor are the holes, but in this region there are some electrons moving in this. Those electrons in this p region is nothing but the minority charge carriers, and similarly this cathode is made up of the n-type semiconductor. The majority carriers in this section is the electrons, but the minority charge carriers are the holes in this section. Let us see the schematic diagram of the structural diagram of this photodiode. This is what the schematic diagram of the structure of the photodiode. P region is diffused with the N region in this way, and it is diffusion mass of silicon oxide is used in this electrode, and here silicon nitride is used. In this way the photodiode is constructed. Now let us see the working of the photodiode. Here this region is, this PN region is exposed to the light. This PN region is exposed to the light. One glass covering is kept on the PN junction, and the other part of the photodiode is colored, or it is covered. It is colored with the opaque color, and or it is covered. Only the junction region, PN junction region is exposed to the light. As we have studied it, the photodiode works on when it is exposed to the light, it starts to conduct. light energy is converted into electrical energy. We know that the photodiode, here is the P region of the photodiode and this is the N region of the photodiode. When P-type semiconductor is connected with the N-type of a semiconductor, there forms a depletion layer. It is connected in a reverse bias and the output is taken. Current is measured in microampere. When this PN junction is connected to the battery, negative region, and positive is connected to the N-type semiconductor, there forms a depletion layer. Here are the holes which are majority in number, and here it forms the negative, and in this region there forms the collection of the ions in this type. Here are the negative charge carriers which are majority in N-type of a semiconductor. Okay, when it is connected in a reverse bias, there is a formation of the depletion layer, and the size of this depletion layer is maximum and the atoms inside this depletion layer are the neutral. When light falls on this, the photons strike on the atoms inside the depletion layer. Okay, there is the formation of electron and hole pair. After it is exposed to the light, that light energy must be greater than the band gap of the semiconducting material which is used to fabricate this photodiode. Okay, when that electrical energy, when that light energy is more than the energy band gap of that semiconductor which is used to fabricate it, then there is the formation of pairs of electron and hole. Electron and hole pairs are formed there. Okay, electrons are attracted. This depletion layer becomes less, then the size of the depletion layer becomes the less, and due to potential difference, the minority charge carriers in this region, electron starts to get attracted. It starts to get attracted towards the positive of the battery, and the holes starts to move towards the negative of the battery, and which constitutes the current which is known as the saturation current. Which is known as the saturation current. When there is no light on this photodiode, even in that condition also, the photodiode starts to conduct, and that current is known as the dark current. For various values of the reverse voltage, for different values of the reverse voltage, the current, saturation current which we get in output is constant. We will see it from the IV characteristics of this photodiode. We will clearly understand. What happens if we plot the reverse voltage? As we know that this photodiode works on the principle which is in a reverse diode. This is the -1 volt voltage in a reverse direction, -1, -2, -3 and -4. When there is no light intensity falling on the no light is falling on the photodiode, the dark current which we get is like this, which is constant for the different values of the reverse voltages we apply to the photodiode. And when different intensities are applied, let us suppose for the first intensity it gives the current -100 microampere. This output current, output saturation current, we are plotting the saturation current which is in a reverse direction. This saturation current is constant for the different values of the voltages. If the light intensity increases, then again this current is constant for the different values of the reverse voltages which are applied to the photodiode. Similarly, for different intensity, suppose we get the current microampere, 300 microampere, and for this we get the 400 microampere. This is the VI characteristic of the photodiode for different values of the reverse voltages. The current which we get through the photodiode is constant, which is known as the stationary current. Let us see the response of this photodiode to the different different intensities of the light. If we plot the graph, this is the light intensity which is measured in milliwatt per second. This is the saturation current. Initially we get the dark current ID here when there is no light. As you can see, here is no light. We get some value of the saturation current here, which is known as the dark current. It starts to increase, and at particular voltage, at particular reverse voltage, it is constant, and this current is the IS. As we go on increasing the light intensity, initially it increases, but for the particular diode voltage which is in a reverse bias condition, the current which we get is the saturation current, and it becomes we get the constant value for the reverse current Vd, where here Is is the saturation current, Vd is the reverse voltage, this Id is the dark In this way, we study the response of the light intensity. As the light intensity goes on increasing at a particular voltage, we get the stationary current, which is the value of the saturation current is constant. This is what the characteristics of the photodiode. Let us see the advantages of this photodiode. The advantages of photodiode is what? This gives the quick response to the light intensity, quick in a response. Okay, and this response is linear response. Okay, this response is quick as well as it is a linear. As intensity increases, the saturation current also increases. This is a high speed of operation. It has the high speed of operation. It is light in weight, small in size, and it is compact. It is light in weight, small in size, and compact. Also, it also responses to the spectral lines from 190 nanometer, which is the ultraviolet range, to the 1100 nanometer, which is the infrared ray, and even it is used for the detection of the low radiation, high radiation. Now the disadvantage of this photodiode, it is the temperature dependent. It is temperature dependent, as the other diodes are. Okay, if the temperature increases, the performance of this photodiode it decreases. Okay, it gives the low saturation current, low current for the low intensity, Okay, and the uses of this photodiode is it is used in a switching devices. In a controller, it is used as a sensor. Again, this photodiode is used in where it requires the high speed switching in a burglar alarms, and there are the various uses of this application of this photodiode is in a counters, switches and safety electronics such as the fire alarms, smoke alarms. Okay, there it is used for it. Even in a counters, machines we used in the banking, there is a counter which applies the photodiode in it. Okay, that's it for the photodiode. We will stop here.